Hey everybody, welcome to the garden. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to the lemon and lime lovers and everybody in between. It's time for the crypto market recap. Let's hop into these charts and see what the story is and what it may be. So what's on the docket today? We're looking at Bitcoin, Uniswap, Solana, Litecoin, Link, Polkadot, and Cardano, and we may take a quick look at Ethereum if we have the time. So let's give a start to Bitcoin. So going off our last video, we were talking about how Bitcoin is in this bearish pattern, this rising wedge that has not changed, will be here for a while, in my opinion. But we did hit our first short-term bullish zone, which is 42,000. And I do think, based off the probabilities, that it's likely we get to 44,000 and maybe even 44.5 before we see any major turnaround. This is a great move, this bullish impulse, especially if you've been short-term scalping long, or you're in a short-term swing long like I have been, like the crew has been in the garden. This is great. We've taken our profits here and there, but I am aiming for 44,000 or 44.5 before I decide to take any more profit. I have yet to make the decision whether I'm going to take partial profits or close the position out entirely. Thankfully, we have no risk, or at least very little, so we can take our time. And I don't want to get greedy and think, okay, maybe because we got here, we'll break through. That's not how this works. Probabilities tell us it's very likely this will be the level where you'll start seeing some stall out, some weakness, some exhaustion, and we'll come back down to the median of the wedge before we get more answers from price action, whether we're going to go lower or whether we'll try again. In my opinion, might as well take the money here and then be ready to jump on any opportunity that might come our way later on. So I'll keep you posted. Make sure your alerts are on for the Discord if you're in the trade with me. And looking at Bitcoin a little bit more, remember, I just want to reiterate why I am midterm bearish, why I do see that it's very likely that this bearish wedge will break out to the downside. It's because of the context of the pattern. We've had a massive run to new all-time highs, hits 69,000, comes down the elevator. This was a run upstairs. This was down the elevator. Then finally, we found a little floor, and it's painting a bearish pattern. After such moves and such a structure, this is what you usually want to see for continuation of the trend. Continuation of the trend, which is to the downside. Broke this low, confirmed under it. Now we've made a lower low and we're making lower highs. So you'll see that this is likely going to continue the current trend to 33K and eventually 30K and sub 30K. So be ready for that. And that is why I want to say, if you have money in profit being long, be very careful holding too long. You do not want to be the person who was in profit one day and then watching the next day is in the red, unable to move. Always stay nimble in this market. That way you can always participate and be ready for any opportunity that will come your way. Okay, so now let's look into Uniswap. We are in multiple altcoin positions. They're all doing great, save for one, and we'll get to that problem child at the end. So let's look at Uniswap. Uniswap has been absolutely fabulous, been performing great. And even today, Bitcoin's had some stumbles here and there, nothing major, but little trips, and Uniswap showed no sign of it. So it is showing some short-term relative strength. That gives me some confidence that you won't only see Uniswap hit that $10.30, $10.50, which is my current target, but you actually might see it get to the $11 and maybe even the $12 mark if Bitcoin can get to the 44.5 zone. Okay, so keep that in mind. Also look that it broke through this descending trend line, a beautiful breakage, and it's just going to confirm in about under 2 hours. This is my definition of a breakage. You get a closure above that trend line, whether it's above or below, depending if you're long or short. And then that next daily candle must close above, in this case, this daily candle that originally broke through. That is, in my opinion, the strongest indication that a trend line or level has been truly broken. Okay, yes, it may take a little longer. Yes, you may see that, oh wow, it's moved quite a bit and you could have just hopped in here. But more often than you think, you see candles like this, you see a candle like this above the trend line, but no secondary candle, and boom, it goes right back into the pattern, right back in under the trend line or above the trend line if you're short, and you find yourself trapped. Most of the time, market makers will do that. They actually did it on Bitcoin. Let's take a quick look. So Bitcoin, boom, hits a high, then comes down. Everyone thinks, well, maybe that was the high. Nope. Boom, makes a new all-time high. Everyone who's a breakout trader was ready right here, took their market order, went long, and before they knew it, crash. Market makers look for liquidity, not to take your money, but just to get to the zone they want to get to, which means they take your money. See how it works? They need to get to certain places, and they need fuel to do it. That's you. Recognize what you are in the market, and then you know your weaknesses. Once you do that, you know where to avoid them. So let's get to Solana. Solana, unlike Uniswap, has not broken down its descending trend line, okay? But it is showing some life, it's showing strength. It's showing enough strength where I'm confident it's going to kiss or at least get to this trend line sometime either today or early in the weekend, maybe early tomorrow if Bitcoin stays where it is. And whether it breaks through or not, I'm more leaning towards that it does break through, and I do think that Solana can see a nice run up towards the $110 zone and maybe even higher, maybe even towards the 120 level. However, I don't think it's worth holding that long. I don't think that's worth the risk because this is so dependent on Bitcoin's performance in the wedge that I think if I can get towards this trend line, the $95, the $92 zone, $94 zone, that it's best to take profit here. Even if it does break through, yeah, that might suck. Maybe if you feel like, oh, I missed out on a lot of money, but that way at least if it does turn around here, you took where you could and you'll be ready to buy in lower if you're interested in Solana. So I'd rather take the money here and then see what happens after. I don't mind watching things run a little higher. Okay, if you do want to stay in this trade longer, even after I get out, please just keep your eye on Bitcoin weakness and keep your eye if you see any significant stall out here. I'm telling you, it's best to take the money here if you see any weakness, because once Bitcoin starts resuming its trend, even if it's still in the wedge and starts coming down, a lot of these altcoins will bleed hard, really, really hard, and you don't want to get caught in that, okay? To the downside, if Solana loses this zone right here, this 8250 zone, and confirms under it, I gotta tell you, I'm really bearish on Solana. Then Solana will start getting down towards the 65 and 60 zone, and then even the $40 zone. You got to be really careful with a lot of these altcoins. There's a lot of air down here. There's a lot of air, okay? So be very, very careful. If you're really unsure, just follow me. I am not perfect, but I always stay on the side with the highest probabilities. I trade safety because that makes you money consistently. All right, so let's go with Litecoin. Litecoin is looking great. This is also showing signs of relative strength. It's been holding this awesome support zone, and you know, if you are using, let's say, like a MACD or an RSI, I would not be surprised if you're seeing like a bullish divergence here. You can usually see it in the candles. If your eyes are trained, you'll see like a bullish divergence here. It's pretty clear. This is a really beautiful structure. I think you're going to see Litecoin get all the way up to $126. I'm pretty confident that may happen. It seems very powerful. Unless Bitcoin has a real hard flush, I don't see much stopping this getting up to that level. I'm not targeting it though. I'm targeting 118 to 116. I'm pretty content with that sort of move. One of the reasons why is I have a pretty high exposure to Bitcoin, to crypto. Not super high exposure overall to the account, but enough where I'll definitely look to be taking some money off just to get the exposure down in case there's opportunities that show up elsewhere. And we're in good money, good profit with Litecoin already, so I don't want to really get greedy about it. So 116, 118 looks great, but don't worry if you want to hold it. I will say 121 to 126 looks fabulous. Just be very careful again. Keep your eye on Bitcoin because that will change the probabilities if it starts breaking down. Okay. So let's take a look at Link. And Link is one of my favorite charts so far. This is a great chart. So let's go back on Link a little here. So Link Look at this long-term trend line. Let's just change the color just a little bit. You see it's a really dark, really dark black, but let's make it a red. So look at this. This is a long-term trend line, beautiful trend line. Link held this trend line so well for so long, and then finally on the Bitcoin dump just broke through. Like this is what you want to see. Okay, this is what you want to see, because this gives you a good idea of what the overall structure looks like. This is bearish. Okay, this is a bearish structure. You understand it's bearish, but you can see the opportunity of bounce plays. So from when Bitcoin's making its all-time highs, Litecoin was around 50 bucks. Then it started descending, and this now has a descending trend line. And look at this confluence. This is what you want to see. You start pulling up fibs, pivots, and you'll start seeing this level here, $21 to $20. This zone has so much confluence. That usually means that price is going to get pulled towards it. It's not a guarantee, it's not a certainty, but it is a probability on the upside. There's a higher chance that you will see a link towards here, a $20 to $21 link. This looks great. We're long this as well. We caught it off this beautiful support bounce, and I do think we're going to see Link in the short term hit $16. That's around my target zone. I am debating whether I'll hold it till 17. I really don't have much. I don't have much in me to keep my hands on Link to $20. I'm still very skeptical. It can get there if Bitcoin starts showing any weakness. If Bitcoin stays where it is or goes higher, then of course you're going to see it get here pretty easily. But if Bitcoin shows any weakness, I do think Link will have some trouble. So I don't want to get greedy, as I said over and over and over. I am willing to take the money a little early. And remember, I am also trading for the Discord group. If you're following my trades, I'm always going to take the safest path. I'm always going to take the highest probability path, because I don't see the reason to try and hit a home run every trade, especially when almost every trade we're making anywhere from 8 to 14% and we haven't lost yet. So let's keep that going. I'd rather hit the base hits and see that we're up 20 to 1. All right. So let's take a look at Polkadot. Polkadot's another great chart, very similar to Litecoin. See, Litecoin, sorry, not Litecoin, to, actually, no, it's not similar to anyone really. Polkadot's similar to Ethereum. That's what I'm thinking of, but we haven't gotten there yet. Reason why it's similar to Ethereum, Polkadot is holding its long-term trend, and it's pretty powerful. But I want to say this: it's a bit of a caveat. This long-term trend line here is not fully proven, and what I mean by that is there's still a lot here to be desired. It's one of those trend lines that, yes, it has viability, but we have not seen whether or not it can actually hold for years on years. None of these trend lines have. But I will say that Polkadot will likely hold this trend line until Bitcoin breaks the wedge. I think that Polkadot will show relative strength to Bitcoin, even if it goes down in the wedge. But once that wedge is broken, it will break this trend line, and you will see a lower Polkadot. Polkadot is a very interesting case, since there's a ton of institutional ownership of Polkadot. So you have to keep that in mind. Some of these altcoins are not equal. Some of them do have institutional ownership that's much higher. This doesn't mean it can't go down. This just means the way it goes down is a little different than it would be for other coins, okay? Like Litecoin will follow Bitcoin more one-to-one than Polkadot will. Not all the time, but most of the time. Polkadot will follow Bitcoin, but you might see, if you really pay attention, it's not always one-to-one. It's not always one-to-one. But look at this. Holds this trend line. Very beautiful. Then there's this descending steep trend line. Really not proven at all. It only had 2 touches if you count the first touch. So not exactly proven. But look at this. Comes down, taps it where there's confluence. So you have the descending trend line, and then you have this support zone. Beautiful. That's why confluence, like I was talking about with Link, is so important. It's like a magnet for price. If it's close enough, it's like a magnet for price. So you always want to keep your eyes out for confluence. So taps it right here, and now is flowing on the support. both the horizontal support and this diagonal support line. So keep your eye on DOT. I do see DOT getting towards the $20 zone. I am going to take profit at $20. I've already made it very clear that I'm going to take money off the table at $20. Whether or not I take the entire position off, I've pretty much made the decision. It's likely going to be a 100% closure of DOT at $20 should it get there. We are in the money in this. Very nice. And this is a trade that was both for the Patreon members as well as the free members. So I want to make sure that the free members also get to take the money if they followed the trade with us, okay? So let's go into Cardano next. Cardano's actually the problem child. This is the one that has not played ball. This is the one that has not left the house. It's playing its video games. It's stuffing its face with Doritos, and it's drinking Mountain Dew. It's decided not to follow its brothers outside to play some basketball and football. It's not following dad around. It's just staying in its room. But there is life here. It's just a late bloomer. Look at this. All it had to do was break through this trend line, and it's starting that process. Once this is confirmed, should it confirm, there's a very high chance it's going to at least get to this larger, much stronger resistance descending trend line here, which is anywhere from, if it does it really fast, $1.02 to 98 cents. I'm leaning more towards the 98, 99 cent zone. We are in the red as a group in Cardano. If you followed me in this trade, we are down in the red, but that is okay. We're not going to win every trade. Now comes a skill that most traders don't have, and that's mitigating your losses. You want to mitigate your loss. We're mitigating our losses two ways with Cardano. We're mitigating it with the wins from our other trades here, from the Bitcoin trade all the way down to the Polkadot trade. We're in the green on all of these. And we're mitigating the loss here by recognizing we did key add-ons for Cardano, bringing down our average to around $1. Okay, why I did this? Why did I do this? And now we have a count risk of Cardano for almost 10%. It's either 8 to 10%. Why I did this is because it brought our average down to a high probability zone where price is likely to get very close to again, meaning we can mitigate the loss, close in a minor loss. This is the difference between the consistent winners, which I am lucky and God blessed to be in, and the boom and bust traders, which are most, and then the consistent losers, which are rare. Okay, boom bust traders, consistent losers buy 150% of their account. They will go half their account here, half their account there, half their account here, or 100% their account here, and then find themselves in Schitt's Creek when they see all their money gone, and they're praying that Cardano comes up back to bring them to break even. Whereas if you do what we do, you buy a little here, 2% here, 2% here, 2% here, 1% here, you end up with an account exposure of only 4 to 8%, 10%, and now you are in a great place because you have little exposure. Your loss has brought you, your add-ons have brought your average entry down to a reasonable place where price is likely to get back to, and you mitigate your loss to the point where it's almost irrelevant, especially if you add in the wins from the other position. You would not be able to be in these positions if you 100% your account at Cardano at $1.04. You will not be able to be in other positions that could potentially bring you money to mitigate the loss from this position if you would put 100% of your account at this point. That is all you need to think about. That is the only difference between you and a consistent winner and a professional trader. Manage your risk to mitigate your losses. We trade not to win. We trade only to not lose, and then the wins will follow after that. Okay? So if there's anything you take from this, that is what you need to take. You want to make sure that you do small position sizes over time at high probability levels, at support levels if you're buying, at resistance levels if you're shorting. You will end up winning more trades than you lose and make more money, and you will end up being able to live off the skill if you have enough discipline. It's that easy. It's that easy. Okay. Ethereum is amazing. Ethereum is definitely one of the strongest charts in all of crypto, maybe the strongest. And I gotta say, it is the only chart right now in crypto that does make me think it's possible. It's possible that maybe my expectations are a bit too low for crypto. It's possible that maybe Bitcoin will go higher, or all of crypto will go higher and Bitcoin will stay where it is. Ethereum looks fabulous. Sorry about my dog. He likes to be in the video. So it's holding this long-term support, and it's broken through this strong descending trend line, and it's looking great to get to 3,000. And I also think if Bitcoin stays where it is or shows any impulse to the 44,000 zone, look for a $3,400 Ethereum, $3,200 Ethereum. This zone here is where I see Ethereum going. But if it does hold above $3,000 for weeks on end, I gotta tell you, I'm starting to think maybe Ethereum will have another impulse. I have to see. There's no guarantees. All right, guys, I'm gonna hop off here. I just want to go over a few things. If you do enjoy the content, make sure to stop by the Discord if you're not in it. If you want to be a Patreon member, take a look. Again, I want you to join the Patreon not just for signals. Of course, signals are great. Everyone loves signals, especially if they make you money. But I do want you to think about maybe looking into the tutorings, maybe looking into maybe learning the skill, because I do think that life is hard enough, and now it's going to get harder with the rising of inflation, job losses, etc., etc., etc. You don't need me to tell you about all the craziness that's happening in this world. I think having a skill that allows you to make money, no matter where you are with a laptop, might be helpful, and I'm more than willing to help you try and get proficient at it. Okay, so anyway, everyone take care. Always remember, be patient, be vigilant, and be nimble. Take care, folks. Bye.